Welcome to the lab. And welcome to episode number 2. Hey, y'all know this series is where we come together to all the crazy stuff that I go through, you go through, we go through. We all put them together right here because experience is the best teacher. But I got to tell you, I'm not trying to take all them classes to learn all this stuff. So we need something like this so we can put all that knowledge together and we can all learn from it. This is Tales of a Terp. Starting off with our characters so you know exactly who you're looking out for in this story, let's start off with our main character, Taylor. Taylor is a female interpreter in her mid-20s. Taylor has, at this time of the story, she had just graduated her 2-year interpreting program. Congratulations to you, Taylor. While in school, Taylor was able to attain her EIPA 3.4, which is pretty good. Taylor wants to be an educational interpreter and is not a coda, but has a friend who is deaf and been signing for the past 10 years. Nice to meet you, Taylor. Then we go on to our deaf client. Deaf client is a normal person doing what they got to do in life. Then we go on to our mentor. This is the team interpreter that Taylor was working with. I didn't ask too much about the mentor because it didn't exactly pertain to the story, but do know that Taylor is not sure if the mentor was a certified interpreter or not at the time of the story, but they do know that they have been interpreting for the past 8 years and that they were recommended by a couple different people to connect. This story probably won't be forgotten by Taylor, probably because it's her very first assignment and it's a moo. I'll let you go ahead and watch it. Go ahead into that story. I'll see you when you're done.
It was my first professional interpreting assignment after graduating from a 2-year interpreting program. Nervous but excited, I arrived early at the library where the community workshop was being held. The room buzzed with energy as attendees mingled, chatting and sipping refreshments. I used the time to connect with my deaf client, learning their communication style, which helped calm my nerves. My mentor, a seasoned interpreter with over a decade of experience, arrived just before the workshop began. Red flag number 1. Then, to my surprise, he was wearing a bold, patterned shirt that felt so unprofessional compared to what I had been taught. I also noticed their casual demeanor, which didn't match the image of professionalism I'd imagined for this moment. As the workshop started, my mentor encouraged me to take the lead, saying it would help me focus on the client rather than comparing myself to them. As I interpreted, the client's smiles and engagement reassured me. When it was my mentor's turn, things took a dive. The client started looking confused and disengaged. It was clear that something wasn't working. During a break, the deaf client approached me. They said they preferred my interpreting and asked me to let my mentor know, but they didn't want to do it themselves, fearing it might seem rude. Talk about caught between a rock and a hard place. My mentor had given me this opportunity and was paying me for the job, but I couldn't ignore the client's needs. When the workshop resumed, I made a subtle decision. I started interpreting alongside my mentor whenever I saw the client struggling. It wasn't an ideal solution, but it felt like the best compromise at the time. My mentor noticed immediately and didn't like it at all. Eventually, in a workshop break, he gestured and pulled me aside. "Taylor," they said firmly, "I need you to let me handle it when it's my turn." "I understand," I replied, "but I only stepped in to help." They sighed, "I know, but address concerns with me directly, not during the work." I nodded reluctantly, feeling defeated. The rest of the workshop, there was tension in the air. At the end of the event, the deaf client thanked both of us, but made a point to praise my clarity and professionalism. Right before I packed my things to leave, my mentor told me he had feedback. He said, "You're doing fine interpreting. Just remember, it's your first time, and no one likes a kiss up. Let's catch up later. Bye." Shell-shocked and having feelings of guilt, I couldn't find words to say as I watched him leave.
Couldn't have been me, I tell you that. You're not going to be talking to me any kind of way. But it was Taylor, unfortunately. So I wanted to ask some more of what happened afterwards. Here are the couple questions that I asked and what she said. I asked Taylor, How would you handle the situation differently if you encountered it again? Taylor says, now, if I were to encounter this situation again, I would voice the concern of the deaf person. That was my golden ticket. Exactly. Once the deaf person told me and confirmed the suspicions that I was having, that was my way out to voice the concerns to the fullest extent, and that this was not coming from me, but from the deaf person. However, I allowed my mind to cloud my situation and decided to sit on my hands and instead of speaking up. Yeah, you have to speak up because the deaf person told you that they didn't like the other person's interpreting. They said they liked your interpreting. You can't just sit there and allow the deaf person to not have access. That's a no go. So I'm glad you said that. Also, I asked Taylor, what advice would you give to other interpreters who might be facing a similar scenario? She says, advice I would give to other interpreters is to walk into all assignments as a fully capable professional. That was the biggest downfall for me. I accepted this assignment under the notions that I would be working with my mentor and that I would be second to him. Those power dynamics are real. They are real. I like that she said walk into as a fully capable interpreter. Yes, you are. Not to be big headed, it's nothing like that. But you want to walk in saying, like, I have the skill and the competency to do what I'm here and hired to do. You need to walk into that. You need to walk into that for your sake. Your client wants you to walk in like that so they can feel confident and trust you as much as possible. So you are right. Walking in as a mentee wouldn't be the best situation because now we look at you as in you don't know as much as you should. Moving on. Taylor says, if I had the mindset that I was fully capable on my own as well, that would have empowered me to speak my mind because I did not feel less than my mentor, but I would feel more as a peer. Being a peer, I would feel more comfortable talking with them at the same level. However, because my mindset was that my mentor was better than me, I did not have the mental fortitude to speak up. Mentor is better than me. They didn't put it in quotes, but I'm putting it in quotes because it really tells how they were looking at themselves if they felt that their mentor was better than them. Yeah, you want to be confident. You have to be confident about things that you're doing. Even if this is your very first time, be confident in what you do know. And you actually had something going for you. You took your EIPA before you even graduated. So you had stuff that a lot of other students do not have. You had some type of way to evaluate your skill level. Be confident in yourself. Be confident. Don't be big headed, but be confident. Don't walk in automatically saying I'm less than someone because that gives them too much control and you see what happens. You get disrespected. Also, I asked Taylor, how did this experience shape or change your view of the interpreting profession? Taylor says, this experience helped me now because I now know that interpreters are human and we all have strengths and weaknesses. This allowed me to be more confident in myself because I am no longer hearing people's time of experience and automatically feeling inferior to them. I feel fully confident if you are a 1 year interpreter or a 15-year interpreter because I know I am coming with the quality of skill that I have and I'm trying my best. Also, when I'm trying my best, that's the most I can ask for myself. That's very good. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're showing up as best as you can and as confident as you can. So that's the reoccurring theme, to make sure you're confident. That was the whole reason this thing even became a problem, because Taylor wasn't confident in speaking up to her mentor and telling the mentor what the deaf client said. And the deaf client told Taylor. So Taylor didn't even have to make nothing up, could have just relayed the message and then had that conversation happen. The confidence is very important, but that's just something that you have to have in yourself. That's nothing that could exactly be taught to you. However, Experience is the best teacher, as I said in the beginning of this video. And now you all watching this, you have the experience. Make sure you have some confidence about yourself. Last thing Taylor wanted to say before she departed ways from me, Taylor said that the most important advice that she can share with new interpreters is to remember that we are all here and who we are here for. While you may be working with somebody who is a mentor to you or someone who has more experience, remember that the true reason we are providing services are for our clients. Exactly. Remember what we're doing here. We're communicating for our clients and matching their preferences, their experiences, and their perspectives. Everything that the client wants so that they can receive their information trumps all accommodations. If the client is expressing a concern that is dealing with the interpreters, it is imperative that the interpreters speak up about that and rectify the problem as best as possible. Remember that you are a professional and that the most important quality to have as an interpreter is that you are trustworthy. By the deaf client talking to me privately and voicing their concerns, they put their trust into me being able to handle their problem. I did not come through and deliver on that trust, which can ruin the reputation and trust for that deaf client and others to come. Whoa. Taylor got real what's the word? Taylor got real introspective with that one. I'm glad you learned a lot. And that was her first assignment. What a way to come into the field. Goodness gracious, Taylor. I'm glad that wasn't the worst, but that probably felt like the worst because you had nothing else to judge it off, being that was your first assignment. Thank you, Taylor, for sharing that with us. And to all of you all, I hope you guys learned something from this. If y'all have something that y'all could tell Taylor back then, that was some time ago. Taylor's a different person now. She's learned from it. But if any advice for someone who has incurred something like this, who maybe will incur something like this, please make sure we put all the comments down in the comment section below. Let's get that community going so we can be learning from each other. Also, do remember the email. Make sure we put our stories into this email so that we can highlight more stories so that we can continue to learn from each other. This was Tales of a Terp. I appreciate y'all for coming here. Now to get on some more stories. Hey.